love you like that. Taking care of yourself is the love no one else could ever give. Exercise and eating healthy, that's the best thing for your body. Smoking and drinking will not help. Sniffing and drugs, you'll hurt yourself. You gotta remember to check your blood pressure. You gotta take good care of yourself. Who's gonna love you like that? Taking care of yourself is the love no one else could ever give. Exercise and eating healthy, that's the best thing for your body.
Good evening, my viewing audience. In with this week's edition of Health Matters, I am your host, Shavani Nisbet, Health Educator at the Health Promotion Unit. Immunization is very important, especially in young children, as it helps to prevent diseases such as tuberculosis, polio, rubella, mumps, and measles, just to name a few. To create awareness on the importance of immunization, Vaccination Week of the Americas is celebrated every year. This year, it was celebrated from April 23rd to April 30th under the theme, Go for the Gold, Get Vaccinated. In light of this, both St. Kitts-Nevis celebrated Vaccination Week with a week of activities. Some of the activities included a launch of Vaccination Week, which included a launch of the EPI manual, as well as a launch of the video promo that was done using the athletes from both St. Kitts and Nevis. We also had activities such as a whistle stop, which took place throughout the island of Nevis. We had a health fair, which included education material on immunization, for blood pressure and blood sugar checks. We had BMI calculations, as well as HIV counseling and testing. One of the activities we also had throughout the week of activities for Vaccination Week was a switch day, which included switching from trivalent OPV, which is the immunization on polio disease, to bivalent OPV. Take a look at some of the activities that took place.
This week we are celebrating Vaccination Week in the Americas under the theme, Go for the Goal, Get Vaccinated. This week runs from the 23rd of April until the 30th of April. Now, during this week, we have a number of activities, and one of these activities is what we're doing today, where we are switching from trivalent oral polio vaccine to bivalent oral polio vaccine. So we're getting rid of all the trivalent oral polio vaccines from all the health centers around the island, and this is happening, as a matter of fact, in all the health centers in the Federation. And these will be replaced with bivalent oral polio vaccine. Now, the reason for this is that we have always been given oral polio vaccine. This contains 3 serotypes, serotype 1, 2, and 3. The vaccine is a live attenuated vaccine, and we are switching eventually to an inactivated polio vaccine that will contain all serotypes. Now, part of that switch, that eventual switch to inactivated polio vaccine, necessitates us switching first from trivalent oral vaccine to a bivalent oral vaccine. So we are removing serotype 2. Serotype 2 is the serotype that is causing most of the vaccine-derived poliomyelitis cases worldwide. So it's important for us to first eliminate that serotype from the oral vaccine, and then eventually we give only inactivated polio vaccine. So that is what we're doing today. We're going to take all of them from all of the health centers, and we're going to carry them to the incinerator at the Medical University of the Americas and ensure that we have gotten rid of all the trivalent oral polio vaccines today. Polio disease is a disease that affects the nervous system. So it causes paralysis, and this has been actually eliminated in this part of the world, in the area of the Americas. However, we do not want it to to raise its head again, and therefore that is why we continue to vaccinate our children against polio. So it's a paralyzing disease. It affects the nervous system and can be very debilitating. Polio disease is a disease that affects the nervous system. So it causes paralysis, and this has been actually eliminated in this part of the world, in the area of the Americas. However, we do not want it to raise its head again, and therefore that is why we continue to vaccinate our children against polio. So it's a paralyzing disease. It affects the nervous system and can be very debilitating.
Mrs. Deslin Tyson-White, a community nurse manager at the Gingerland Health Center. She will now tell us about the activities for Vaccination Week.
Good day, everyone. We are celebrating Vaccination Week in the Americas, and as a part of this week, we have opened the week on Monday with an opening ceremony in St. Kitts, and we also launched the EPI manual, which is the Expanded Program on Immunization Manual. For Tuesday, we had the switch plan, where we switched from the trivalent polio vaccine to the bivalent polio vaccine. The trivalent has 3 forms of polio, polio 1, 2, and 3. So we are no longer using that trivalent, and we are going to be using the bivalent, which we have polio 1 and 3. So we are eliminating polio 2 from that vaccine. Today, we are holding an island-wide whistle stop, where we are going through the different various communities and making stops at the various schools to educate persons on vaccination, encouraging persons, if they don't know their vaccination status, they don't know their immunization status, to come on to the various health centers and inquire. There's a possibility that we would have your immunization records, and if you're not vaccinated or up to date, we would vaccinate you during this week. So for tomorrow, Friday, we are having a health fair. We are going to be focusing on giving education about vaccination, as well as doing HIV testing and any other health information that persons would be seeking. We'll be on hand to answer, as well as we'll be doing blood pressure and blood sugar testing. What we are doing here, we are having our health fair as a part of Vaccination Week in the Americas. We have a wide range of activities that we are doing here this morning. When persons come, they would start at this section where they are registered. Once they're registered, they move on to this section. At this section, we have our nurses here. They are doing blood sugar screening. And the blood sugar screening that we are doing is the finger prick blood sugar screening. From this section, we also have someone here doing blood sugar screening as well as blood pressure. We move on here, which is the persons from the mental health department, and they have a wide range of literature here. They're doing counseling, plus you're having game time, or they introduce you to different activities that you could help to relax yourself and stimulate your mind. Once persons move along from here, we enter this area over here, which is where they are doing counseling for HIV screening and hepatitis B screening. So we won't go behind that area because it's confidential. But when they leave this area, then they would go into this other area where they're doing the actual withdrawing of blood to have their HIV testing and hepatitis B testing done. Once that is finished, they would receive the results in a few hours. So they are asked to return in an hour's time to receive their results.
And that has been this week's edition of Health Matters. I hope you enjoyed the week of activities we had for Vaccination Week, and that it has encouraged you and created awareness for vaccination and the importance of getting immunized, especially in young children. The fruit of the week is soursop. Soursop is a rich source of vitamin C and an even richer source of antioxidants that help to prevent cancer. I am your host, Chevene Nisbet, health educator at the Health Promotion Unit.